realized my 6-year-old daughter was getting high off the smoke in the crack house, I knew things had to change.
I was 16 years old when I had my little girl. I went through several foster homes. None of them worked out, and finally I had nowhere else to go.
Instead of having a nice retirement, I found myself in my later years living in my car and also on the street. And I didn't know which direction to turn to find an inexpensive place to live.
I knew I needed help, a place to stay, and definitely a program in order to turn my life around.
Have you ever reached a dead end in your life? Faced things you just couldn't control? You probably felt helpless and frightened. When most of us are at the end of a road, we have family and friends to help. But for many in San Diego, those facing eviction, spousal abuse, addictions, even children having children, they have no support network. I'm Carol LeBeau. The individuals and families you'll see were alone and desperate. They were at the end of their road. Yvonne and Angel, two young single mothers, entered programs which helped give them a fresh start.
Yvonne and her daughter needed a clean and sober living environment in order to make the right decisions. Her daughter, Amber, is now enrolled in school. Yvonne attends NA meetings every single day. She is now 90 days clean. We are very proud of her. Yvonne and her daughter are now getting ready to move into a long-term drug-free environment. Yvonne has previous training in telecommunications. We are very confident that she will find a job because she is very motivated and she wants to keep her family together.
Angelica came from a home where her parents failed to provide for her basic necessities and a father that abused her. After several placements had failed, Angelica and her 9-month-old daughter came to the door of hope. Angelica has now learned how to take control of her life. She also has learned how to take more responsibility for herself and for her child. She's learned that now she has more choices, more options than she thought she had before. Angelica has completed a nurse's aid course and is attending Mesa College. Her goal is to obtain a degree in psychology and to work with abused children. We think she's going to make it.
All of us need a place to stay that's clean, safe, and affordable. Troy and Bob were decades apart in age, and both of them were nearly on the street.
It's very hard for them to find safe, clean, affordable housing on their minimal incomes. The day Silvercrest opened, we were full. We now have more than 410 applicants on our list. We can understand why these people are so eager to come into the building because there's many programs they're participating in, such as volunteers, exercise program, the nutrition program. Some of these people were even unable to afford their medications, and now they're up and active. And instead of this being the end of their life, it's been a new beginning.
He really had a lot of things stacked against him. He needed quite a bit of help. He had been recently released from prison. He didn't have any family here in the San Diego area that could be of much help to him, and all he owned was in a duffel bag that he was carrying around with him from day to day. We needed to assess the skills that he had and provide him some new ones. We retrained him on how to interview, how to fill out a job application, how to look for work, which worked for him. He was able to find work, and we were all very pleased about that. He received a pay raise within his first 60 days on the job, and they're thrilled with his work performance.
I'm at the Salvation Army's new Core Community Center in Claremont with Captain Don Bell, County Commander for the Salvation Army in San Diego. Captain Bell, we've seen how the Army's residential programs help people. Do Core Community Centers have the same mission?
Well, Carol, our Core Community Centers are both the church home for members of the Salvation Army, as well as a new support network for families who have graduated from our residential programs. We met the Torres family when they stayed in our emergency lodge. Tommy, the mother, has 5 children from 5 to 16 years of age. Though her income is limited, her concern for her children is great. Her family was welcomed into the Salvation Army Church Fellowship. Tommy participates in our Women's League. The children attend Sunday school as well as several youth development activities. Here is a family succeeding in their new life because of the love and support they receive from this fellowship. David, their oldest, wants to go to college, and though the family faces challenges, Tommy has a spiritual center in her life.
Captain Bell, you mentioned a spiritual center in one's life. Just how important is the spiritual aspect in the Army's ministry?
Well, Carol, when one is truly at the end of their road, they can only look to God, re-examine where they've been, and ask forgiveness to free them from the past and give them courage to walk a new road. Some of our greatest conversions have come from our Adult Rehabilitation Center, where people like Ken Miller found new life.
In 1988, I felt that I'd come to the end of the road. I'd attempted suicide a couple times, and that's basically where my life had come. I had a young daughter that I wanted to enjoy life with, but I didn't know where to turn. Every place I went to wanted money or some kind of a commitment other than a commitment to myself. And I, through a friend, found the doors of the Salvation Army ARC in San Diego, and from there, life has been fantastic. It was hard work in the beginning, but that's what I think is the basis to turning your life around. And now today, most of the time, I'm smiling and happy. I wake up and I pray in the morning, and I thank God for the chance that He gave me, another chance, which He gives to each and every one of us if we try. And from here on, I don't know what's ahead of me, nobody knows, but it won't be drugs and alcohol.
With the tremendous increase in crime, poverty, and the problems families face in our community, how much more can we expect from the Salvation Army?
It's no surprise that many are facing tougher times. Each of the Army's programs are serving more people than ever before, and yet the needs still grow. The Salvation Army has had to do more with less. We've sought new sources of funds when traditional fundraising programs have decreased. Even in tight times, we've kept almost all our programs running. We feel we must keep providing the help that is so desperately needed. Your faithful support helped us to be there for the Torres family, for single moms like Angel, for homeless men like Troy. Thank you for standing with the Salvation Army. Your support puts us right where we are needed, and with God's help, there will always be hope for those at the end of the road.